Going on Facebook? What's going on YouTube? Thank you guys so much for being here. I have a very long show today. I have a clip from CNN, our great friends over there, Leanna Wen, the health expert with her expertise to expert us, us amateurs out here. Lots of stuff we got to talk about today. There's going to be a pharma celebration at the beginning. I want to congratulate my brothers and sisters at Pfizer working hard for the American people, just raking in the money off their COVID vaccine. Congratulations, Albert Bourla. You're a star. It's kind of like capitalism, except it's not capitalism when our country gets shut down and you get Operation Warp Speed, and then, I guess Pfizer maybe didn't get the most from that, but then, both Trump and Biden administrations buy your product and whatever. Not really capitalism, but whatever. Congratulations on the money that you pretty much got. We're proud of you at my channel. We love you over here. Lots of stuff to talk about. Where the mask mandates are ending in the country. I have a few places where they're easing off restrictions on the kids. I have updates on the trucker protest. I literally have like 15 tabs in front of me. You guys don't even understand how much research I did. I have an interesting clip from TMZ of a comedian who was making a joke about getting the booster shot and how she gets like the shingles shot, the flu shot, 2 shots, 3 shots, and then she literally passed out and fractured her skull, which is not funny. To some people, I guess it is. They have a twisted sense of humor, but I looked at that. I'm not even going to play the full clip because I don't like to see people get hurt. I don't like to watch like World Star Hip Hop, watch like 2 women fighting. I'm like, nah, that's not my style. So I'm not going to show the part where she actually hits the ground because it's kind of gruesome, but I do have that story. So many stories. And I just want to say real quick, here on the Anomaly platform, if you want to find me on other platforms, dreamrarelinks.com, dreamrare on Instagram, dreamrarelinks.com, the hats at dreamrare.com, whatever, you get it. We love science. That's why sometimes, people wear a fanny pack. Sometimes I just wear this on my head. When I go to the grocery store, they're like, hey, sir, do you have a mask? And I'm like, science. I'm following the science. This is all I need right here. My cranium filled with science. But in general, we want to congratulate our science friends over at Pfizer. I saw Steve Cortez tweet this Axios videos. Shout out Steve Cortez, by the way. He seems like one of the good guys that Trump put in. More people like Steve Cortez, less people like everyone else. But $36.8 billion, says Axios. That's how much Pfizer reported in COVID vaccine sales in 2021, making it the top-selling pharmaceutical product ever in a single year. Woo! Hooray, big pharma. Yay, I'm anti-capitalist. Oh, yeah, I'm for the worker. That's why I just get Pfizer tattoos. Hey, you know what would be cool if I just got a QR code tattooed to my face? Yeah, then I could really impress my liberal friends in Berkeley. Why don't I just get nothing says buck the system and those darn billionaires like getting a QR code tattooed right on my forehead. You could start a rap career, You don't actually have to have talent. You could be little QR code. You're like, yo, you got like 7 like raindrop tattoos. You're like QR code. And they're like, they see the teardrops. Usually if you're a thug, they're like, yo, how many people you kill? If you're young, you little QR code, they're like, how many vaccines did you get? It's like 1 teardrop tattoo for every vaccine. He's like, I'm quad boost. How do you think I got to Tel Aviv? I got 4 booster shots. 1, 2, 3, 4. Crimea River. Little QR code. The poppin' new rapper who's gonna rap about little pharma products. He's like, yeah, Xanax, yeah, poppin' pills, yeah. And they're like, oh, this guy's so revolutionary. And then like Bryson Grace, like, hey, I love Jesus Christ. And they're like, oh my God, look at the homophobe. We know what you're doing, but whatever. Congratulations to Pfizer. I'm sorry, I got a little sidetracked. We're so proud of you. We're so proud of your selfless act of just making this $36.8 billion product. I thought it was free. I must be some sort of idiot. I thought this was like a free product or something. They get it. It's free. It's free. Where did the money come from? Because I only got $1,600 or something. How the hell did Pfizer get that much money, man? Lots of purchases from the government, and then they shove it down your throat. I got to get one of these government deals. It's like, why don't you glue my God Bless hats from dreamrare.com or godblesshats.com? Why don't you glue it to people's heads and then call them a white supremacist if they try to take my hat off? They're like, I can't take this hat off. It's stuck on my head. I'm like, you damn Nazi. I'm like, you got to pay for that through your taxes and we'll tell you it's free. It's like, it's a great business. And then I have no liability. Their hair gets ripped out. And I'm like, what are you talking about? You have a full head of hair. It's safe and effective. What are you talking about? And then I'm like, sign the PrEP Act so I have no liability. I got to get one of them Pfizer deals with the government. Congratulations, Albert Bourla. You're the man, dude. You are the man, Albert. Woo! Let's go, Pfizer. Come on. Crank that up. Crank. Just what we need. Big Pharma to get more profits and more revenue. I'm sure they won't do anything unethical. I hope not. I hope they don't, because I can't even question them anymore. It's not like 2015 where everyone knew Big Pharma was corrupt and they're looking at the opioid crisis. It's illegal in my country to question Pfizer. I could question Jesus Christ, my Lord and Savior, which I don't because I love him, but I can't question Pfizer. What a great, you know what type of country. Never mind. Let's not get in trouble. I was going to say a word, but this is sometimes an all ages program. Can't question them. So let's just hope their products are great. Because if they're not, you can't say they're not good. So that sounds like a good business model, right, folks? No. All right. I actually haven't watched this clip yet. So this is my legit reaction. Leana Wen, our trusted icon over at CNN, just crushing, talking about why she agrees with the lifting of the mask mandates. I really haven't heard this clip, but I saw Anderson Cooper tweet it. And when I think Anderson Cooper, I think ethics. That's a guy you want to really look after. So I was like, if Anderson tweets it, I'm going to watch it here.
Do you agree with the move?
I do. There was and is a time and place for pandemic restrictions, but when they were put in, it was always with the understanding that they would be removed as soon as we can. And in this case, circumstances have changed. Case counts are declining. Also, the science has changed. We know that vaccines.
The science has changed. Excuse me, I have a question about, climate change, because you said the National Glacier Park would be melted by 2020, but it's still there. You can't question me. The science is settled. The science is settled. We have settled the science. We, the government, we, Dr. Anthony Fauci and company, we own the science. Pfizer, Moderna, we are the science. I am the science. How dare you question Dr. Anthony Fauci? I am the science, and the science is settled. It's like, did you make a mistake? No, we didn't make a mistake. The science changed. The science evolved. It evolves and it changes, except for when it's time for us to use our First Amendment right. Then all of a sudden it's set in stone. Let's roll that back. We got to listen to that again. The science has changed. I didn't even know it could change. Thanks for letting me know. I thought you guys had it all figured out over there. I mean, your track record's garbage. If it was a batting average, you'd probably be kicked down to the double A's. You wouldn't even be in the pros, but keep convincing people you're like Galileo over here with the foresight. But
these counts are declining. Also, the science has changed. We know that vaccines protect very well against Omicron, which is the dominant variant. Everyone 5 and older have widespread access to vaccines. And we also know about one-way masking, the idea that even if other people around you are not wearing masks, if you wear a high-quality mask, that also protects you, the wearer.
Oh, man. I got to roll that back. I seriously haven't heard this clip. This is hilarious. So 2 years of put your mask on or you're killing your grandma to, well, now we have the science has changed and we know that wearing a mask provides you with protection. Man, if only we could provide that logic with vaccines and health. If I get obese out of shape, I don't blame Donald Trump and when he wins the election. It's I'm yeah, maybe I should take care of myself and, boost my health. Now all of a sudden that's the science of masks. A year ago, it was we all have to wear it or it doesn't work. Now she's trying to say, if you wear it, you provide some protection. Is that the message that anyone get? And I know I have a long show. I hope you guys stay. I have Gavin Newsom. He tweeted about ending the mask mandate for vaccinated only. And you got to read these psycho comments because all of these people got brainwashed by mainstream media. They believe their government. They're now confused. There's more left-wing people who are mad at Gavin Newsom for taking away the mask mandate, literally in the comments freaking out saying he should keep it in forever and they want to sue him. There's more psycho left-wing people who want restrictions further than there are even right-wing critics of Gavin Newsom. It's hilarious, but it's also very disturbing. I'm speechless that she's now just flipping the script. 2 years of telling you that if everybody around you doesn't wear masks, they're killing grandma. We're now going to tell you that all you have to do is wear a mask by yourself. It's I feel horrible. I feel horrible for the people who actually believed you for the last 2 years. I think they deserve reparations. I'm not a normal Republican conservative. Everyone's I'm anti-reparations. I'm anti-reparations. Black Lives Matter doesn't deserve reparations. Anybody who believes these people for the last 2 years, I believe deserves reparations. Whatever. Take Pfizer's, multi-billion-dollar profit and give it to anybody who listen to these people and are suffering mental and physical abuse from the fact that they literally trusted somebody telling them this. And then they flip the script 2 years later, and these people literally can't handle it because their whole life is a lie, because they've been buying into the lie that Donald Trump, orange man, bad. I love vaccines. I hate vaccines. Whatever you tell me. It's like wind up the wind up doll. It's like, do we hate Trump? We hate Trump. Do we love Trump? We love. Oh, we love to hate Trump. We hate to love Trump. We hate vaccines because Trump rushed them. We love vaccines because Joe Biden. It's like, it's literally like a pull string doll. It's like Woody, at Andy's house, Candy Andy's house. He doesn't want to play with the dolls anymore. Andy doesn't want to play with the dolls, and all the dolls are like, but Andy, you told me that I had to wear the mask with everybody. And they're like, I know, Woody, but I just got a Buzz Lightyear toy and he's cooler than you. This midterm election is cooler than you. So I'm going to go play with my Buzz Lightyear. And they're like, but what about being miserable together? What about yelling at everyone else for wearing masks? It's like, dude, that was so 2021. Now the science has changed and now you just got to wear it by yourself or something. It's like, what the I feel like everybody who listens to mainstream media deserves reparations. I want reparations. I don't know, whatever. Yeah, we're doing socialism now, printing money, giving it to PFIZER, whatever. Sure. Yeah, well, sure. Yeah, I want reparations. I want $1 trillion in my bank account. And then we could talk about other ethnic groups because they deserve some too. But I want some media, mental abuse reparations. Just even if I watched it for 5 minutes at an airport by mistake, I want my money compensated for that time. I want a full refund on that 5 minutes. And time is money, so it's hard to really put a price on my life because it's good.
Have changed. Case counts are declining. Also, the science has changed. We know that vaccines protect very well against Omicron, which is the dominant variant. Everyone 5 and older have widespread access to vaccines. And we also know about one-way masking, the idea that even if other people are around you.
One-way masking. This is a new term. Okay, so they have like fully vaccinated, but then you need a booster shot. If you need a booster shot, you're not fully vaccinated. They told you for 2 years that everyone had to wear a mask, and now they're branding it as one-way masking. I'm sorry, this is better than SNL. One-way mask. She talks like a politician, so you could trust her. I am an expert. It's like, who talks like that? Like, why do people listen to Joe Rogan? Because he's like, dude, I like chimpanzees, and you're like, dude, I like chimpanzees too. They're kind of chill, it's like, I watch the Nature Channel too. I like Animal Planet. It's like, that's why people like Joe Rogan. This is like, you can trust me. I've just invented a new term. It's a one-way mask. And you're like everyone who believed her for the last 2 years, I think deserves reparations. But listen, this is why I'm not in politics. Anomaly, run for office. You could win. It's like, are you trying to get me hurt? You think that my ideas and my sense of humor could make it in Washington? They would frame me in 5 seconds. You know what I'm saying? I'd be TMZ articles, like, people I've never even met claiming that I fondled them at a zoo or something. I'm like, I've never even been to the San Diego Zoo. They're like, Anomaly fondled me at a zoo in 1984. And I'm like, I was born in 1989. What are you talking about? Like, you think I want to deal with that stuff? I don't even want to be here right now, but I can't go anywhere. And the government thinks everybody's a terrorist if you just disagree with Joe Biden. That story to come. They're literally framing it as if you question the government, like you might be a terrorist. I'm going to read that later. It's like, have you looked at Joe Biden? Joe Biden, everybody knows he belongs in a nursing home. Black, white, Democrat. No one looks at Joe Biden like, that guy really is impressing me. We have 300 million people, white scholars, black scholars, Democrat scholars, Republican scholars, geniuses, people who study quantum physics, And then you have Joe Biden, the person that you are literally lying to yourself if you think that's like a top 1% impressive person in the country. And I'm not allowed to question him and his regime, or else I might be undermining the government. Joe Biden's presence is undermined. Every minute that you let that guy run the country and poop his pants, I'm not saying he literally, fact check, Joe Biden's never pooped his pants. How do you know, fact checker? Have you literally gone through his diapers? Well, Joe doesn't wear a diaper. We need to take this video down. How do you know? Are you in his pants, you creepos? It's not Pride Month yet. Slow it down. I'm just saying. It's like, you can't question this guy's regime. Does anybody look at Joe Biden like, oh yeah, that guy's really killing it up there, man? I mean, man, I thought JFK was, young. Joe Biden is really, providing so much, unity and youth and just like it's like no one thinks that. So why would like DHS be looking after like anti it's unbelievable. All right, let's get back to our friend talking about one-way masking. I'm sorry, I should just play the clip, but it's just too funny. I can't help myself.
Which is the dominant variant. Everyone 5 and older have widespread access to vaccines. And we also know about one-way masking,
One-way
the idea
masking.
that even if other people around you are not wearing masks, if you wear a high-quality mask, that also protects you, the wearer, too. And so
all right, I'm going to play it, I promise. Imagine believing her for 2 years that everybody had to wear a mask or else it didn't work. And then just randomly on a dime, she's like, one-way masking. Like, I don't believe these people. I'm sorry, Lena Wen. I'm not your biggest fan. I lied. Imagine believing her for 2 years and just having her be like, one-way masking. And everyone's like, but you told us for 2 years straight that everyone had to wear it. Oh my God, these people deserve reparations. I'm going to start a yoga class and I'm going to let all these liberals come in. You guys want to make fun of liberals? Let's go, Brandon. I want to help them. I feel bad. Let's start a liberal refugee program. Like, I'm so sorry these people lied to you. Imagine believing them for 2 years and then just being told one day that there's a such thing as one-way masking. It's hilarious. I didn't even watch this interview before. It's so funny. I feel terrible, but
this case, I'm not saying, I don't think anyone really is saying that no one should ever wear masks, but rather that the responsibility should shift from a government mandate imposed from the state or the local district of the school. Rather, it should shift to an individual responsibility by the family who can still decide that their child can wear a mask if needed.
Take New Jersey, the case in New Jersey, for instance. Their new case.
Wow, individual liberty. Where have I heard that before? Individual choice. And like kind of like how the founding fathers intended the country to be. Every big government policy they did, lockdowns, forced vaccination, forced masking, they're going to tell you how great and necessary it was. I'm convinced that if we just did individual liberty, like she's saying now from the beginning, and promoted good health, good exercise, not closing down beaches like psychopaths, and then 2 months, you can't go outside. You can only go outside. You shouldn't be able to go to a beach. You have to go to the beach. You can't sit down indoors. You can't sit down indoors. You need to sit outdoors, indoors. You need to go in an igloo that looks like a crappier version of the restaurant we just kicked you out of outside that's made of freaking like styrofoam walls. Oh yeah, I bet you guys are really progress. Woo! Progressive. Yeah, let's. We had some like strong man build an actual building 100 years ago just for you idiots to throw us outside on a curb eating in an igloo that's literally just a crappier version of something that a strong man built. Oh yeah, that was really worth it because we said so, and we say so because you can't question us, and if you question us, you're a terrorist, and if you're anti-vax, like, how insecure do you have to be about your policy, your platform, your vaccine, if you literally pretty much make it illegal to disagree with in any major platform? That's like screeching insecurity. You're like, you can't say it's a bad product or we're going to destroy you. That's how good it is. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, man, that sounds really, really gung-ho. I'm sure, like, imagine a restaurant. It's like you can't Yelp it review. You can't leave a review. You can't talk to the chef. Like, don't sign the receipt, like, for your safety. It's like, yeah.
Average is just over 4,000. Is that an acceptable number to do this, or are they projecting out to March 7th at this point?
I don't think we should be looking at case counts at all at this point, especially when we're dealing with a milder variant and when so many people were exposed to Omicron and therefore have at least some level of protection either through vaccination or immunity.
Oh, some level of protection between immunity. I think it was Ted Lieu, a politician I personally am not a fan of at all. Some Democrat Looney Tune. He said, ready? I'm going to read his tweet, February 7th. With rapid decline of Omicron, pandemic restrictions will be lifted sooner rather than later. In considering when to do so, health officials must factor in natural immunity, not just vaccination rates. Wow. Didn't Rand Paul say that 3 months ago, a year ago, and you guys eviscerated him metaphorically, and his neighbor tried to literally, and then you guys cheered it on? And this is, by the way, I think this is like fake woke, where it's like really fake woke is like everybody needs a passport. Fake, the kind of woke is like you need natural immunity. Real woke, real awake is like I am not a walking virus. I don't care if you're Rand Paul or Ted Lieu. I don't care if you're Joe Rogan. I like Joe Rogan, but he's testing people. Listen, God bless Joe Rogan. He's dealing with a lot. I got his back. But in general, I'm not a walking virus. I'm not testing all the time. You got to prove you have natural immunity. Go F yourself. I'm not walking into your restaurant proving I have natural immunity. You want to see my biceps? That's my natural immunity. You don't want to serve me? Let's take it outside and have a chat. You don't want to have a chat? I'll cook for myself. Go F yourself. I don't want to have to prove I have a freaking Pfizer passport as they're making record highs. Big pharma disgusts me. Millions of people dead because of their products on record. Look up the opioid crisis. Over 1 million people confirmed dead. Lawsuits out the wazoo. I despise that entire industry. I'm not showing a passport that proves that I'm a loyal, slave to that industry. And I'm not apologizing for saying that word like Trey Gowdy. He's like, nobody should ever, compare slavery to anything. And it's like, I get what you're saying, but the word enslavement and slavery has a dictionary definition. So people have been enslaved in modern history, in present history, and it has a meaning. I don't care, Trey Gowdy, how Republican you act like you are. I don't care that you look like a vanilla ice cream cone, had a baby with Ellen DeGeneres, had a baby with Andy Dick, and somehow you impress like strong boomers that have guns and tractors and stuff. I don't know why they like you, because you look like Ellen DeGeneres and you sound like Ellen DeGeneres to me. You're like crying over words. I haven't heard you talk about the restrictions at all. You're more worried about a word that Whoopi Goldberg said than you are about the federal and local government shutting us down and treating us like animals for 2 years. Get over yourself, Mr. Swirly, okay? I don't watch Fox News enough to be impressed with you. Every clip I see, you sound like a tool. But good luck with, raising money and whatever you do at the GOP. Like, I don't know, like play patty cake with Lindsey Graham or something. I don't even know what you guys do, but whatever.
The key number that we should be looking at is hospitalizations. If our ICUs and hospitals in that particular region are not overwhelmed, if they're not over capacity, we can set a number, for example, 75%.
All right. So they're saying, well, we got to look at hospitalizations, right? We got to look at hospitalizations. Our country is obese. Okay. Our country is probably fatter than it's ever been. Children are fatter than they've ever been. You're pumping them up with sugar, high fructose corn syrup, opioids, fentanyl, more overdoses, more people abusing, psychiatric medications, which in many cases then in turn make them psychos. And you're just going to be like, well, if the hospitals are bad, we're just going to, be authoritarians again. It's like, no, you're not, Leanna Wen. Do some push-ups. All of you at CNN, okay? Work out, exercise, promote good health. Stop just acting like you're the saviors of humanity and then selling pharmacy products and freaking McDonald's in the commercials. You're not helping. And then this idea, oh, well, if there's hospitalizations on the rise, we could then once again, I'm just going to be 5 years ahead of all these other idiots. Why? Winter. Every winter, hospitalizations tend to go up. Every winter, there tends to be more people sick. So it's going to be this cycle. Well, winter comes around, they're going to lock down and shut down more. I predicted this whole winter. I said they're going to do more restrictions. They're going to bring back the mask mandate because cases are going to rise. Cases are going to rise and deaths are going to rise because that's what's going to happen probably every winter. That's just what happens in the winter. Does that mean that it's not bad to be sick? No, it's not great to be sick. But in general, they're acting as if taking care of yourself, exercising, dieting has no problem. And as our nation becomes fatter and fatter and fatter and pumped up with vaccines and pills, that if you have a high hospitalization rate, that means that you should treat everybody like abused circus animals again. And then Trey Gowdy is going to get on Fox News looking like freaking Ellen DeGeneres, vanilla ice cream cone, Andy Dick guy, talking about how words are mean and you shouldn't compare things to the past. Shut up, old man. Okay. I'm tired of you. I'm tired of Joe Biden. I'm tired of Operation Warp Speed, Grandpa Moderna. I've been tired of Lindsey Graham. I've never not been tired of that loser. It's like, what are you doing besides just like sedating, Republicans into thinking you're going to do something while you're crying about mean words that Joe Rogan said? It's like, shut up.
Or 80% full, then we should be able to relax all restrictions. And I actually believe that we should be starting to, with the first restriction removed, should actually be the restriction on children. Because while for adults, you could say, well, what's the harm of adults masking when they go into a grocery store?
These people never talk about diet and exercise. I'm not sick. I haven't been sick all winter. I was in a house with 3 people that had Omicron and they were all sick. I didn't get sick. I'm outside running in, 40-degree weather. I'm sorry. I'm not like a cow. They treat us like we're GMO cows on a factory farm conveyor belt. It's like pump them up, make them fatter, give them the product, make the money, and then send whatever, the ventilator or something. It's like, I don't know, remdesivir or whatever. It's like, I'm not a freaking animal. And I tell this to everybody that tries to treat me like one. It's like I snapped them out of the Truman Show. You know what I'm saying? They're like, I can't even hear you. You sound like freaking Charlie Brown's teacher. It's like, you're not even a man to me. You sound like, I'm like, I can't even hear you. It's blocking your breathing holes, which is off of your speaking hole. So you're yelling at me, but you sound like Charlie Brown's teacher. What are you trying to say? I don't know, because you're cutting off your communication tool, your face. It's embarrassing. I'm like, I don't know who you think you're talking to, but I'm not an animal. I'm not a slave. I'm not a circus clown. I'm not a lab rat. So you got to direct that energy somewhere else, because you picked the wrong day. Like, it's like these people come acting crazy. Like, they don't talk about any important root level health. I'm out here getting as healthy as I've ever been. I'm eating better than I've ever been. When I eat meat, it's better quality meat. When I eat other stuff, when I'm drinking, I'm cautious. I'm not drinking soda. I don't drink high fructose corn syrup. Everything I do is for a reason. I'm not the healthiest person. I'm healthier than I've ever been. And there's a 0% chance that the best way to make people healthy is lockdowns, forced vaccination, forced masking, with virtually 0% emphasis on a healthy lifestyle. And Jen Psaki got asked a question about other countries talking about healthy lifestyle and healthy eating. And she admitted on camera that it's really not a part of their plan. She's like, well, if the CDC, et cetera, tells us to do that, we'll consider it. But until then, we're listening to the experts. What are they? Expert psychopaths, expert big pharma shills, expert government bureaucrats that just hijack and, take over people's inventions, like Carrie Moses' PCR test, abuse them, and then make it illegal to talk about it. It's like, what are they expert at? They're not expert at telling the truth. They're not expert at making people healthy. We're getting fatter. We're getting more jacked up on pills. And these people want to convince you that if hospitalizations ever go up, then that might be a reason to shut down again. When the reality is, why wouldn't hospitalizations go up when our country's getting fatter and they're pushing fat as if it's some sort of miraculous thing? You should be a model. You should be and I'm not saying you can't. Big Pun was 700 pounds and he's a legend. You know what I'm saying? There's fat models, and I think there should be in some cases, but I'm just saying, they're talking about health, and you need to cover your breathing holes for 4 years if you're 5 years old in order to attend school. But they're not even talking to like 400 pounds adult. Like, maybe you should lose 100 pounds and then you'd be less at risk for heart disease, diabetes, and even COVID. That should be a part of a full, if you're being honest. These people are not being honest. And the next time hospitalizations go up, which is probably going to be in the winter, they're going to act as if the winter doesn't exist and it's totally caught them by surprise. Wake up, folks. I'm going to play the clip. I got so much more, but I want to say this too. I live in a conservative county. Okay. We're supposed to be Republican, one of the most Republican places in the state. Okay. I'm walking in a grocery store that nobody cares. Nobody says anything. Most of the entire county, nobody says anything. And everybody's wearing a mask. Everybody. I'm like, what's wrong with you? I'm sorry. It's like our ancestors deserved freedom. My ancestors came to this country. My ancestors, picked up trash for a living and started a company. My ancestors grinded. My ancestors worked for everything they had. My parents worked for everything they have. And now we don't deserve freedom. I don't think we deserve it. I think I deserve it. I'm not trying to be selfish, but our country as a whole, if I live in a Republican area where they're not even enforcing it and people just do it anyway for 3 years, it's like, why do you even deserve, why do we even as a nation deserve freedom? We don't. And I'm not saying that in a bad way. I'm saying that as a challenge. Like, we're down 30 at halftime. Like, what are you doing? What are we doing?
There actually is a harm that we should be discussing of children continuing to mask. That doesn't mean that masking doesn't have its place.
Oh my goodness. I swear I haven't heard this before. It's freaking me. We said that for 2 years, Liana. This didn't just become a harmful thing for children overnight because you just decided to talk about it on CNN, Miss Gatekeeper. This has been harmful for children. There's already issues that are out there in the mainstream public. Obviously, you're covering up their breathing hole, their smile, their sense of identity, their humanity. It would have been less humiliating to just replace all human workers with robots. Literally, that's less humiliating. It's like, just replace everybody with a robot. Way less humiliating than forcing everybody to turn into zombies without a mask. When I see a waitress like, I'm like, I don't respect you. I feel bad for you. I feel terrible that you have to do this for 8 hours and they're treating you like a captured prisoner of a foreign country. But you're not even a person to me. You're a robot. You might as well be a robot. And I'm not trying to be mean, but it's like, I have to do it for my job. I don't know who you are. I can't hear a word you're saying. I can't see your face. You just look like a serf to me. Like, and I feel bad because I'm like, I'm not this elite. Like, I'm giving you a good tip. It's like, why not just replace people with robots? What's the point of being a faceless, like, prison, a worker for 2 years while they hold their breath for Magic Johnson pictures because they don't want to catch AIDS? I mean, COVID. No, I'm just kidding. That was a intentional joke, humor. Sorry, Magic Johnson. I'm sure you're fine. You got top level technology there, whatever. And I'm not trying to be mean, but I already feel bad.
Number, for example, 75% or 80% full, then we should be able to relax all restrictions. And I actually believe that we should be starting to, with the first restriction removed, should actually be the restriction on children. Because while for adults, you could say, well, what's the harm of adults masking when they go into a grocery store? There actually is a harm that we should be discussing of children continuing to mask. That doesn't mean that masking doesn't have its place for children when there are very high rates of hospitalization.
Jack said in the comment section, you should check your ego. Shut up, Jack. All right, I'm going to continue. I don't have an ego. I'm not an animal. I'm not a lab rat. So I'm standing up for myself. If you're going to cry and you're like self-conscious or something, and my confidence and my humor and my presentation is bothering you, go watch Teletubbies, okay? It's a lot less controversial.
If we get a new variant in the future that children are particularly susceptible to, we may want to bring masks back. But we should also be intellectually honest and say that masking has had a cost, especially for the youngest learners, people with English as a second language.
It's had a cost for everybody, but you psychopaths just wouldn't let us talk about it and didn't want to make it a part of your platform. It's been that way for children, for elders, for adults, and you psychopaths gatekeep this narrative until you couldn't hold on to it any longer. And now you're admitting the truth and acting like the science has changed. Shame on you, but thank you, Leanna Wen, for some reason finally at least somewhat telling the truth.
Children with learning disabilities, there has been a cost to them. So the risk-benefit calculation has really changed.
I don't mean to brag.
All right, so I got like 5 more stories to talk about. So let me just play this clip. This is Heather McDonald TMZ footage. Real quick, I'm just going to read. It says, Heather McDonald watched me faint on stage. Scary video of collapse. Here's the moment Heather McDonald suddenly collapsed in the middle of her comedy set. We're going to listen to that and her reason why. I cut out the part where she fell because she literally fractured her skull, and I don't want to show that. So let's listen to the joke she told right before she fell. It's pretty crazy.
I don't care, but I want you to know, double vaxxed, booster, flu shot, and I'm going to be honest, I have the shingle shot too. And I still get my period. What? Yes.
Yes.
Traveled, went to Mexico twice, did shows, meet and greets, never got COVID. Clearly, Jesus loves me the most. Seriously. So nice. So nice.
Oh shoot. Sorry. I was trying to actually not show. I was literally trying to not show that, and people thought it wasn't. Shoot. My bad. I thought I cut that part out. Oh well.
So I'm in the emergency room. I look weird. Oh my God. I'm so sorry. I passed out on stage. I got up, I did one joke, and I felt so dizzy. You can see my eye. I fell on my eye. Oh my God. I cannot believe this happened. I feel so terrible that they had to tell everyone to leave and then cancel the second show. Tempe, I will be back. I've never ever fainted in my life.
I'm not a psycho Democrat who like laughs at when people get hurt and stuff. Like, honestly, it's sad, but it's like, the fact that she's talking about, I got 2 vaccines, I got a booster, I got a shingle shot, I got a flu shot, Jesus loves me the most, and then passes out. It's something that you can't script. I don't know why she passed out. I have my own health regimen. I don't really take pills. I don't get 5 vaccines a year or whatever she's doing. I don't know. She's just like, give me everything you got, doc. I don't know. But, God bless her. And that was just a crazy moment. I don't really want to make fun of her. It's sad. It's just like, I don't know if irony is the right word. What a crazy time to fall. What a crazy joke to be making to fall. It's crazy stuff. I hope she gets healthy. That sucks. I don't know. Moving on. Alberta in Canada to end the vaccine passport system immediately, begin loosening restrictions for children. Alberta Premier Jason Kenney has ended the province's vaccine passport system and laid out a plan to further loosen up public health restrictions. So I read the article, and I guess he's saying it's time to let kids be kids. They have this whole like 3-part thing. They're going to get rid of vaccine passports, or so they claim. They're going to get rid of masking, and so they claim, but they have like a date and a same sort of thing. Like, we're going to monitor the numbers and maybe we'll give you back your freedom. Maybe not, we'll try to do it. I wanted to bring up Los Angeles real quick because Governor Newsom took away the mask mandate for vaccinated only. But Los Angeles County, I believe, did not. And here's it's crazy to me that people are still voting for Democrats. I understand that they just have like a stranglehold on Los Angeles and California, apparently, but they're having the Super Bowl in Los Angeles. Tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of people will go to Los Angeles to watch the Super Bowl in stadium, around. It's a massive tourist boom. So there's such a massive emergency that they can keep the mask mandate in order, but not a massive enough emergency for them not to host the Super Bowl. It's absolutely unbelievable. Anybody that thinks, like, how dumb are people that vote for liberals? Like, it's an emergency. You got to keep your masks on, but like, we're going to have like hundreds of thousands of people come and whatever. And we're going to take pictures with Magic Johnson and hold our breath or something. It's like, I'm starting to get to this point where I feel like everybody manifests their own reality. I'm free because I don't live in this world where I listen to psychopaths who are trying to make me ill, sick, and fat. I don't listen to them. I don't listen to their ads. We love you on television. Then stop feeding me the worst thing for my body, disgusting things for my body in the commercials. If you like me, you would be like the influencers I watch. They sell good products. I sell things I believe in. That's why I only have a few products, because I can't scale out my store until I know it's good quality. And hats, pretty safe bet. I mean, you can't really do much with that, but made in the US, good quality. I'm not selling garbage like you guys sell in the commercials. But LA, mask mandate, emergency, but not a big enough emergency for the Super Bowl. How stupid are people? I have no idea. Clearly very stupid. I'm starting to think, in a positive note, people get what you want. If you want to be like a prisoner, if you want to be like somebody's little baby tyrant, boy, wearing a cloth mask over your face for 20 years, I guess some people just want that. You know what I'm saying? I guess that's what people want. Like, I guess some people want to be conquered. I guess some people want to be abused. It's like some people who listen to like punk rock where they're like, abuse me. And people are like, yeah. I'm saying, they got their nails, but like, some people want to do that. I'm starting to realize, I guess some people just want to be pathetic. I don't. So I don't live in that world. I'm not even mad at people anymore. It's like, whatever. I don't envy what you have. I don't care if I don't travel. It's annoying, but I'll get over it. I don't think people really deserve freedom. And I'm not saying this like I don't think people deserve freedom. I think humans do deserve freedom, but a group of people, a country, my country, being this pathetic, like, why do we deserve freedom if everybody's this pathetic? Like, maybe people really just want to be conquered. Maybe people really want to lose all their freedom. Maybe people want to screw over the future generation because they're too lazy or dumb or something. So I'm not even mad, where I'm just like, I don't know. Maybe people in LA want to suffer or something. I don't want to do that, and it's kind of weighing on me a little bit, but I'm starting to think people don't want to be free. I'm starting to think people don't want to be independent. I'm starting to think people don't value the Constitution. Like, they just want daddy government and daddy pharma to treat them like a pincushion, rag doll in Andy's toy box in Toy Story 2. Like, I'm starting to feel like that's really what people want, because they're acting that way. Like, do you want to be like a person, or do you just want to be like a worker? And I'm not saying working's bad, working's great, but like, the workers who care, like the truckers, people like that, they're like, yeah, I'm a worker, but I'm not your dummy. I'm going to do me. I'm going to do my job, do great, but you're not going to abuse me. That's why I respect truckers and people standing up for themselves. But I guess other people are like, I just want to be abused. I just want you to make my work conditions worse, treat me bad, hide my smile, treat my kids like dirt, and I'm just fine. It's like, is that what people want? Because it's starting to seem that way to me. I don't know. Speaking of people wanting that, let's read some of the comments under Gavin Newsom's post. Gavin Newsom, governor of California, said, California's case rate has decreased by 65% since the Omicron peak. It's amazing how these people never talk about winter. Look at every chart ever. Flu chart, flu chart, flu chart, flu chart, COVID chart, COVID chart, COVID chart, every winter, up, down, up, down. It's not always the same, but it always goes up and down to some form. Now, all of a sudden, they've gaslighted this country into not even understanding the winter. And it's not just Democrats. Most Democrats have no idea what they're talking about. A lot of Republicans fall for it too. Nobody even thinks about it's February and I did something with my thing. Yeah, do no mask. I guarantee that cases would have went down also, because in February, March, April, it's called seasonal trends, you psychos. But it's not to say you can't do anything. I'm just saying, like, they're gonna do this forever until people catch on to it. Back to Gavin Newsom's tweet. He said, California case rate has decreased by 65% since our Omicron peak. Our hospitalizations have stabilized across the state. Our statewide indoor mask requirement will expire on 2/15. Unvaccinated people will still need to wear masks indoors. Get vaccinated, get boosted, he said. Now, here's the crazy part. You would think Republicans would get mad at that. I mean, many have. And said, like, why are you treating unvaccinated like slaves and prisoners and serfs? They don't care how fat you are. They don't care how much high fructose corn syrup you slurp up. They don't care what you do. They don't care if you smoke 20 packs of Marlboros a day. They're discriminating now against people that are smart enough and educated enough to not want to be pincushions for the rest of their lives for an mRNA product from Pfizer that's making them record highs. And now they're trying to treat us like second-tiered citizens and serfs. So you would think, because his disgusting, authoritarian, psychotic tweet was way more a jab at people who want medical freedom, the comments are filled with psycho, I'm guessing liberals and maskies, demanding that he do more to be more authoritarian. I'm going to read some of them. One lady, I don't know if she took her tweet down or I just can't find it, but she was some blue check mark lady. I think she worked at E or something. I can't remember. And she was threatening to sue Gavin Newsom. Like, if I get sick and you take away masks, I'll sue you. And I was like, what the hell is wrong with these people? She wants to sue Newsom if she gets sick after February. You're probably going to get sick, lady, because sickness has to do with physical health. Also, mental health, stress weighs on the body, etc. This is scientific study. So with a mind like that, you don't sound healthy to me. Hopefully you have a good diet and exercise routine to make up for your psychotic brain. But here, I'm just going to read some comments. 2:15 is too soon, says Blue in Charge. Blue wave, yeah. My goodness. Imagine wanting a blue wave. The only blue waves I want are in the ocean, not in politics. 2:5 is too soon. The protocols will be relaxed and cases will go up again. Only 24% of kids 5 to 11 in LA County are fully vaccinated. Maybe you need to hit a threshold of 75% of kids being vaccinated and 80% of people having booster in order to relax the safety measures. Please. This is probably somebody who, instead of trusting the science and reading the science, just hears people say trust the science and trust these propagandists on television. If you look at the data in places like Israel, where there are 2 booster shots, 4 shots total, there is no correlation to mass vaccination and getting rid of cases. So if you're really concerned about cases, you can look at places like Gibraltar with an almost 100% vaccination rate. They did not reach herd immunity. Israel didn't reach herd immunity. Nowhere where vaccination rate hit over 99%, including Gibraltar, did they reach herd immunity. So this idea of you reaching herd immunity is not likely at this moment, and it's not happening anywhere in the world. So I don't know who told you that 75% compliance among children, your whole ideology is backwards, but whatever. Let's read more. Robin Harley. Yeah, I'm disappointed to see that you're letting the mask mandate expire. It's truly a privileged point of view. Vaccines alone are not enough to stop the spread. This isn't complicated. We should stop making it so easy for the virus, says Robin. Privileged point of view. After everything Gavin Newsom has done for these people, he's just a privileged white man who doesn't understand what it's like to probably be white like the person who tweeted that. I doubt it does not look like someone black. They're like, you're privileged. I'm a white person as well, but I'm privileged too. But I know my privilege, so I'm qualified to speak for black youth because I've, watched a documentary or something on, the origins of hip hop music. And, I got to the Run DMC part and, I respect hip hop, but not in a racist way. Like, I don't say the N word when they say it. I just listen and bop my head and I censor myself. But when I hear, black culture, black arts, I give respect. I understand I'm a white male. I'm a white male too, like you, Gavin Newsom. I'm a culture vulture. Oh my God, I'm so mad. Oh my God, I should have never listened to it. Oh my God, I should have just listened to Shania Twain. I knew I should have just stuck to Alan Jackson. It's like, this is like how these people probably act. I don't know. That's a parody, but it's like, she's like, as a privilege point of view, like, oh my God, I'm privileged. Oh no, I listen to music. Oh no, I should have just stuck to unseasoned chicken salad and, Smash Mouth. How dare me be a culture vulture? Oh no, I should have never bought that Kendrick Lamar album. No. I bought a mean word in a song. I bought it. Loser. All right, just kidding. God bless you, Robin. You're invited to my yoga sessions if you need to cool down after this 2 years of being lied to. Nancy Jane says to Gavin Newsom, keep the mask rules in place until we have no one dying of COVID in California. And by the way, we need some substantial rules about ventilation in buildings now. Keep the mask rules in place until we have no one dying of COVID. That's an interesting theory. Keep mask rules in place until no one dies of the flu, no one dies from getting hit by icicles. Let's not drive until nobody dies from cars. Let's not get fat until nobody dies from diabetes. Let's just get nobody dying. Wouldn't that be perfect? Yeah. Oh yeah, I love the Communist Manifesto too. We'll all live in human slavery. I mean, we'll just give all of our money, power, and control to Karl Marx, and I'm sure he'll redistribute it among miners in West Virginia or something. It's like, no, he won't. What do you guys what the hell is wrong with these people? They're like, we need 0 COVID deaths. It's like, yeah, and I want to be 0 years old. I'm starting to age. I saw a gray hair today. Oh no, let's lock the whole world down until I turn to 0 or something. It's like, or you could just shut up, Nancy. Dawn Z Relight says, please help the North State. We are under political siege by alt-right militia and their billionaire backers. A current sup of school candidate vows to end all mandates. Okay, so if you want no mandates, which pretty much just means like literally normal basic 2019, like liberal, you're alt-right militia according to Donzer61. Donzer61, congratulations. You're a loser too, but you're not the loser of the night. Welcome to my game show that I just invented on the spot. Callous Music Like Rain 14 says, every time cases go down, we relax measures, ensuring a new variant can emerge and spread freely. Instead, we should be really strict at this point to starve off the virus. Oh yeah, we're going to starve off the virus. I wonder how we need to starve off the virus. It's like, are you like jacked and just like starving off the virus by just getting jacked? Or are you like slurping down like, McDonald's smoothies watching like Masked Singer with Nick Cannon on it, who successfully apologized to the Jewish community? Whoopi Goldberg's put in timeout. Think about what you did, Whoopi Goldberg. Maybe you need to put on a do-rag like Nick Cannon and have a rabbi on your podcast. Maybe you need to do a Barry Weiss book report like Nick Cannon. I don't know, Whoopi, but pretending to be Jewish was one thing, but talking about them, whole nother ball game, Whoopi. Trust me. You don't want to go there unless you do want to go there. And then maybe we should start a podcast. That would be fun. Me and Whoopi Goldberg. You could bring the clout and the bad energy. I'll bring the good opinions. It'll be great. Ebony and Ivory. Think about it, Whoopi. DM me. I got more clout than you now. Crazy. It's not 1980 anymore. You can't just live off a Ghost and The View forever, Meghan McCain stealing your thunder. Get over. Anyway, Music Like Rain. How many times do we need to repeat the same loop until we understand? Viruses don't care about boredom. The irony of somebody that wants to literally continuously continue a loop that never ends, saying, how many times do we need to repeat the same loop until we understand? Lack of self-awareness alert. Lack of self-awareness alert. This guy's so unself-aware, he could run for Democrat politician. Literally repeating a loop, asking how many times do we have to repeat the same loop? Unbelievable. Loser. Big Izzy said, I live in Central Valley and 65% of the people don't wear masks indoors. If you check my county, Tulare probably has the highest COVID rate in the state. You need to impose stricter fines for businesses not adhering to the mandate. I'm sick and tired of being the only one masked. Where did he say he lives? Tulare? Maybe I need to move there. Sounds awesome. Sounds like a great place to live in California. He's like, I'm the only one wearing a mask. Imagine being a mask in a conservative area of California. You're like, oh, where am I? Am I at a Tucker Carlson rally? What the hell is going on here? What is this, a Joe Rogan elk meat convention? What the heck is that? Is this a Jordan Peterson, speech convention? It's like, no, go to LA. Leave the healthy people alone. Go live in LA and be around maskies and see how miserable it is. Unbelievable. I'm going to keep reading the comments because I'm enjoying this thoroughly. I hope you guys are too. I'm having a blast. And I'm not trying to be, I'm selfish. The one guy's like, I'm like, get over yourself. You have a huge ego. Bro, I'm on a live stream. I'm talking in front of like 2,500 people. It's not easy. It's not like, oh, let me just stop and self-reflect and start self-deprecating myself midstream. Like, you know what? I shouldn't have so much confidence. Let me just like, oh, I should have cut my nails. Oh my God, I should have shaved my hair. Like, that doesn't make for a good stream. Just like melting down in the middle of like a funny rant because you want me to be less confident or something. I don't have an ego. I'm just hilarious and I'm self-aware and I'm aware how funny I am. I'm just kidding. But mid-tier, I'm average, but I'm body positive. You don't have to be great to be great, just get obese and you could be the next America Top Model, but don't get obese because I don't want to tell people that someone gets fat and then they blame me or something and try to sue me. So all parody, don't bother me. Birdland says, does anybody, actually, I want to read funnier comments. Melissa says the Mystic Wood. Oh man. Letting the masking indoor rule lapse is a huge mistake. People who aren't vaccinated are exactly the people who won't wear masks indoors if there isn't a rule. Are you trying to keep this pandemic going? These people got lied to for 2 years, so they literally can't figure it out. This is what's going on here. They had the person, and I have this analogy. Unlike Trey Gowdy, a.k.a. Vanilla Swirly, Ellen DeGeneres, Andy Dick, Trey Gowdy, who says, you shouldn't compare anything ever to slavery. It's a word, dude. The word slavery doesn't just mean slavery. The word enslavement, slavery, it's a literal dictionary word. You're not taking it away from me, swirly man. I don't care that you look like Ellen DeGeneres, came through a, Cone's brother ice cream cone. You're not taking this word from me, Trey Gowdy. And if me and Whoopi Goldberg want to talk about World War II, we're going to talk about World War II. Okay, Trey Gowdy, that's my First Amendment. Do I have to be right about it? No. Are people going to get upset? Sure. Am I really going to do that? No, but shut up, dude. Like, no one needs you virtue signaling. It's like, whatever, dude. Anyway, what I wanted to say is this is my analogy that Trey Gowdy would probably cry about, but it's like if somebody were, this is hypothetical, if somebody were to enslave 100 people, okay? It's just a metaphor. They're enslaving 100 people. 100 people are in shackles. They're stuck to the wall. And then there's a bunch of people who freed themselves by taking the shackles off, and they're running all over the place. And the slave master looks and says, those are the people who did it to you. They're the ones why you're still here. The only way you could be free is by not being free. The only way you could be free is by complying to the shackle mandate. And this is what people metaphorically think. They think, it's all those people with no masks. They're the reason I can't take the mask off. All those people who didn't get vaccines, they're the reason that it's not working. All these people who are free are the reason I'm not free. Like, they've been tricked into that. And they can't figure it out because everything that I said 2 years ago is being repeated by CNN and mainstream liberals, including Ted Lieu. So imagine being somebody who bought their bullshit for 2 years, all of their fear. I watched NBC for like 10 minutes and I felt like I needed reparations. I don't care that black people want reparations. I agree. I want reparations too. And then we could fight over who deserves more, and maybe you'll win, maybe you'll lose. But in general, I want reparations for having watched MSNBC for 10 minutes. It's disgusting. It's like the amount of fear porn going on there will drive any normal person insane. If I watched it one time, I would have been driven insane, let alone watching it every day and believing it. That's who these people are. So 2 years of this fear porn, 2 years of this everybody has to mask, 2 years of this never going to end. And then just to be like, oh, one-way masking. Yeah, you wear a mask. And they're like, what do you mean one-way masking? You told me for 2 years it was a two-way street. These people are like bonkers. And it's not a majority of people, but like people are bonkers that believe this stuff. I'm going to keep reading comments once again because I'm having a blast. And if it's not mutual, I apologize. Except I'm going to apologize to everybody except for that one guy who told me, to check my ego, which is good advice. It is like, you do need to check your ego. But it's like, I'm in the middle of a joke and it's like, he's crying. It's like, dude, go watch Pat Sajak, spin the wheel. It sounds like you need to compress a little bit and watch something a little more family friendly. I like Pat Sajak. I actually really like Pat Sajak, but I like Wheel of Fortune too. Let's not get off a sidetrack. But anyway, Phoenix Webb says to Gavin Newsom for ending the mask mandate for vaccinated only. No, no, no. 3 exclamation points. Stay the course. Hashtag. Wow, she's killing it. Exclamation points, capitalization, stay the course. Hashtag. This happened last year, and then fall, winter 2021 came with a new variant that has produced its own sibling variant. We don't want to go through this again. Angry face, angry face, angry face emoji. Anomaly, check your ego. I don't want to right now because I'm trying to get a book deal. Hire me to read the Berenstein Bears on Daily Wire. I should be getting $1 million contracts, but nobody wants to sign me because I'm not a phony. I make better Instagram reels and TikToks. I'm changing the game. Nobody wants to hire me. I'm too much of a liability because I don't cry like Trey Gowdy. But she's literally saying, this happened in the fall, winter of 2021. Phoenix. Every winter, there's probably going to be a spike of something. Some sort of seasonal illness, some sort of flu, possibly some sort of COVID strand. In the winter, because of, I don't know if it's directly because of cold weather, but you have people turning on the heat a lot. You have people getting stuffed up. The air ventilation is worse in the winter. When you're in cold areas, you're indoors more. So there's many things that go into this, but in general, every winter you're going to see a spike of something probably. I'm sorry you were gaslighted into thinking that winter doesn't spike. Like if everybody wears masks and gets vaccines, then there's going to be no flu and COVID in the winter. No, I mean, you could think that. You could find a channel that tells you that, but it's probably not going to happen, lady. Loser. Catherine says, it's still higher than the peak of any previous wave. Children under 5 aren't eligible for a single dose of a vaccine and won't have protection for months. How can you do this when numbers are still so high and little children have no vaccine protection at all? Sounds like a really great mother. Not, but whatever. It's like people can't comprehend what's going on because at first they're like, oh my God, Omicron is so bad. We're like, no, it looks, literally the data right out of South Africa when it started coming out, it looked mild. And people were like, oh, it looks mild. If you watch conservative news, they're like, it looks mild. If you watch, so they scared people for 2 months and now they're like, yeah, it's mild, whatever. It's like the flu or whatever. It's like they're literally just copy and pasting what Ron DeSantis, Rand Paul, probably Ron Paul, myself, Jordan Satchel, Alex Berenson, who got banned, Elon Musk in 2020, they literally just took what we've been saying for 2 years, copy and pasted it, and now are trying to act like it's this scientific democratic thing that makes sense now because things have changed. And their audience literally can't handle it because they were programmed for 2 years to reject that message. Elon Musk said that. He's a bad man. He's a African-American, but, bad man. It's like Donald Trump said something. Anomaly said something. Joe Rogan said, like, they've been programmed that all of this information is like a conspiracy theory. And now it's just like, oh, Omicron. Yeah, it's just like Bill Gates, like, yeah, it's like a flu. It's like, what? I got banned for not even saying that. I didn't say it was like a flu, and I got censored on Facebook. They're like, it's not a flu. I'm like, I never said it was a flu. I posted an NBC article, and your idiot fact checkers, algorithms, or pathetic staff just flagged me by mistake or lied about me, and I have nothing to do with it. Now your freaking stocks are going down and stuff. It's like, yeah, you're scaring away everyone off your platform because your policies are so garbage. You're censoring one of the biggest person on your platform for the crime of you sucking. It's like you miss a layup and you take me out of the game. It's like, I didn't even call it the flu. And you said I said it was the flu. And then you punished me for something I never said. And then 2 years later, Bill Gates said what I never said. And now it's okay. And now you got people like, get all these people confused because you told them this was all like a conspiracy theory. I'm going to keep reading it. I'm having a good time. I hope you are too. Let's keep reading. Is it really too much to ask for PH officials to learn from the recent past and to stop the insanity of prematurely lifting mask mandates again? And the honor system for anybody who knows anti-vaxxers is an utter joke. Peach's mom said, I'm glad we have N95s now. So when some disease spreader feels the need to tell me I don't need it in a supermarket, I can reassure them that it's not to protect them, but to protect me from them because they nasty. Hey, we're going to clap it up for Peach's mom real quick. And this is not a sarcastic clap. I'm genuinely happy that she's the one person that is like, okay, I'll just wear a cone mask and it protects me. It's like, I don't agree with that, but sure, if that's what you believe, I'm glad. Somewhat sensible person who disagrees with me, that's fine. We love you, Peach's mom. She says, I'm glad I have an N95. I feel safe. I feel like it protects me because Leanna Wen just told me, and I'm going to feel good in a grocery store. Good. Good job, Peach's mom. Good for you. We like you, okay? Not loser. Peach's mom wins, and Callie Peaches. You're the realest mom. Congratulations. You probably would hate this live stream, but we like you. Amy said, if they aren't vaccinated at this point, do you really think they'll wear a mask indoors? Good question. This is good news, but absurd to assume unvaccinated people will continue to wear masks indoors. Who's going to police that, said Jeffrey Hunt. Well, not my sheriff, because I live in a conservative county that never policed your bullshit authoritarian orders. So even in the height of the pandemic, the entire sheriff's department understood it was unconstitutional and unenforceable. So just stay in LA. Seriously, stay in San Francisco, please. Just stay there, please. Just go there. Go there. Go. You want a vaccine passport? Go to LA. Stay away from us. I live in a county and nobody's wearing it. It's only me. Then go to a masked county, bro. What are you doing there? It's like if I was in LA crying about vaccine passports. Everywhere I go, there's a vaccine. But get out of Sodom. New York City. Get out of Gomorrah. Get out. Go somewhere else. Unless you live there and you're from there, then stay and vote and for what you believe. But all right, I'm done with the comments. I'm exhausted now. But those are the comments. It's pretty funny. Real quick, I got a little sidetracked, but it says 4 states. I'm just going to read some stats. This is CNN. 4 states set timelines for the end of school mask mandates. The Democratic governors of Connecticut, New Jersey, and Delaware, as well as Oregon's health department, have set timelines for the end of their state's school mandates in a sign of the receding wave of COVID-19. This is if you like traveling. I don't know that I'm going to leave the country, but I found a travel blog at the National News. It says country you could travel to without a PCR test from Sweden to Switzerland. And I don't want to tell you could travel here because you should look into everything. There are still forced vaccination or I don't know if I would say forced vaccination, but vaccine mandates in some of these areas. But France, you could, I guess, fly to without a PCR test. It says Portugal, Greece, Bahrain, Sweden. Sweden, I believe they're not going to give you a vaccine passport. Germany, they do have vaccine passports. Turkey, Switzerland, Norway, Denmark, Croatia, Lebanon, Egypt. I don't know. I guess, it says okay, some of these places says only vaccinated travelers don't need a PCR test. So scratch that. I'll have to read that whole article, but it looks like from what I read before, Sweden and some of the Scandinavian countries are leading the way with freedom in Europe, and they're going the lightest on restrictions. We'll see about that, but I'm going to hold off until all of these maskies calm down, if that ever happens. Real quick before I leave, this was important. I saw this from Ron Coleman, who is a lawyer. I couldn't think of that word. Sorry. Ron Coleman, the lawyer, tweeted this out. He said, so a few of us are wondering, Department of Homeland Security, are you out of your minds? And he quoted them on their website. So I'm going to read this. It's very creepy, and I don't want to scare people. Don't be afraid because you have nothing to be afraid of. But in general, this is very creepy that our government's doing this. So the Department of Homeland Security government website put out a little February 7th, they issued a bulletin, and it says, summary of terrorism threat to the U.S. homeland. Okay, so they're talking about terrorism in the U.S. homeland. I'm not going to read the entire thing, but I do want to read one paragraph or one couple sentences from that paragraph. It says, while conditions, and this is right on the Department of Homeland Security website talking about terrorism in the United States, it says, while the conditions underlying the heightened threat landscape have not significantly changed over the last year, the convergence of the following factors have increased volatility, unpredictability, and complexity of the threat environment. 1, the proliferation of false or misleading narratives which sow discord or undermine public trust in U.S. government institutions. 2, continued calls for violence directed at U.S. critical infrastructure, soft targets, mass gatherings, faith-based institutions such as churches, synagogues, and mosques, institutes of higher education, racial and religious minorities, government facilities and personnel, including law enforcement and the military, the media, and other perceived ideological opponents. And then they mix it up with actual real terrorism. So they're saying, yeah, terrorism's real, terrorism's bad. I agree. But then they're mixing in, well, people that say false narratives and undermine the trust of the public, like that's starting to tie into this terrorism. It's such a interesting time when they keep using this word misinformation, right? When Jussie Smollett put out his call of, I guess, MAGA country, noose, hung, Subway, sandwich around my neck. I don't, whatever the Jussie Smollett thing. That's misinformation. Is the Department of Homeland Security studying Jussie Smollett? I mean, he is going to court and stuff, but it's like, is that what they're talking about? Like people who lie like that? CNN had to fire multiple people a couple of years ago for a bad headline or a false narrative. Is that something? Multiple journalists have now apologized for their role in the Iraq war and starting a war based off false pretense. Is that considered misinformation? Rachel Maddow went on television and told people that if you got the vaccine that you wouldn't get or spread the virus. That's misinformation. Are they going to police that? So what does that really mean? I mean, they're looking at people like Joe Rogan who are countering the narrative and calling a spade a spade. Joe Biden's pathetic. This is out of control. People like Elon Musk. Yes, he's a billionaire, but this is the type of stuff. And I'm not going to put words in the DHS's mouth, but they're leading it as if like if somebody says something that disagrees with the mainstream narrative, no matter how true it is or not, and that undermines faith in America, then that is aiding terrorism. And this is a narrative that we all saw coming from the Patriot Act and the Iraq War. I saw this coming since I was 18 years old. You think I grew up like liberal Obama? No, I was always knowing through the BS. I leaned liberal. I obviously fell for certain politicians at certain times, but I always knew that I read the Patriot Act, not the whole thing, but I saw it. I was like, I checked out some. I was like, this is going to be used against Americans. I could just tell by the broad legislation, the terrorists. I'm like, eventually they're going to turn inward and start calling people who are honest here terrorists. And that's exactly what they're trying to do. And this is my last thing. I'm probably going to end on this and read a Candace Owens tweet that I thought was good. But some of the reason for the government mistrust right now, and this goes out if anybody from the Department of Homeland Security is watching, or any of the feds that think that everybody who is, further right than Joseph Stalin. There's this new report that was out. It was some like blue checkmark psycho liberal guy. And he was like, look at all these right-wing people on Joe Rogan's podcast. And it was like Tulsi Gabbard, Democrat politician who is the vice chair of the DNC. She's right-wing. Jordan Peterson, Sam Harris. The list was insane. It featured people that are so far left. This is how psycho some of these people are. If you're further right than Joseph Stalin on the political map, they think you're far right. They're so far left that anybody else freaks them out. That's kind of like the government. I love good people at the DHS in our intelligence communities, the good people, the people that are putting on for our country, busting like human trafficking, hundreds of kids being kidnapped and stuff. I appreciate those type of people. And I know that work does exist. And the bad ones give the good ones a good rap. It's like the police. There's a lot of good police. There's a lot of bad police. But in general, I have to say, it's like the reason the public doesn't trust the government is because the government has sucked sucked over the past couple of years. Sucked. I'm sorry. I don't care if people like Trump on my page. Trump sucked in 2020. Biden sucked in 2021. Our governors sucked in 2020, 2021, 2022. The CDC sucked. Fauci sucked. That's why it's like playing a bad game, losing by 60, and then blaming your fans. That's what they're doing. We hire you. In some cases, we don't elect you, but in general, we vote for people, and we only have two options, and you both suck. So we pick the one we think is best because we're always fighting with each other over race or, something. And we pick you, and then you do a piss poor job, whether you're Nancy Pelosi or Lindsey Graham or Mitch McConnell, and then you blame us. You blame the government, then blames anybody who doesn't trust them. Take an ounce of accountability. Take an ounce of accountability, DHS. I say this to groups like the ADL, Anti-Defamation League. If you want anti-Semitism to go down and people to stop being hateful, stop sucking so bad, because I think the Anti-Defamation League creates more anti-Semitism than like people that are actually hate them, because there's such a god-awful, excuse my language, organization that hides their horrible political social philosophy behind all Jews. And it's damaging. And they take no self-accountability, and all of their ideas of stopping hate never have to do with looking in the mirror. And same with Black Lives Matter. And same with every political or social organization. Yes, there are bad people out there, but a lot of the biggest organizations that are pumping this stuff are not good people. Like Al Sharpton is the biggest grifter ever. I never understood when my elders used to be like, Al Sharpton. I was trained to think that's racism. I'm like, why do you hate Al Sharpton? And then I'm like, I see now he popped like, it's like something happens to someone black, he pops up behind a chair. I was like, how the hell did Al Sharpton get here so fast? What? He got like Elon Musk technology. He's taking like private tunnels or something. Dude could fly from like freaking California to Florida in an hour. He's popping up behind. He's like, there's justice that needs to be done. It's like, what the hell is Al Sharpton doing here? That's a joke, by the way. He doesn't travel that fast, but it's like these people do all this thing, but they don't want to reflect inside and see what they could do better. So with our government, I love America. I love, police officers, law enforcers, border security who do hard work that I never do. I understand that it's complex. I understand in this age that it's difficult, but the worse our government gets, the more paranoid they get, right? It's like they have a guilty conscience. They're being so bad, so evil, hurting so many people, so abusive. CDC, FDA, governors just treating people like animals. It's something that we've never seen in our lifetime, just treating people like they don't even have a constitution anymore. And it's okay because it's an emergency. And then all this stuff starts happening, and they don't even look at themselves like, hey, what could have we done better a little bit? They're like, oh no, anybody who disagrees with us must be related to domestic terrorism. And it's like, you see that happening in Canada now. Candace really nailed it. She said Trudeau, or I like to call him Justin Trudeau. Justin Trudeau said the truckers have no right to shut down the economy and to prevent people from living their day-to-day lives. Does not appreciate the irony that his government for the last 2 years has shut down the economy and prevented people from living their day-to-day lives. Exactly. It's like, what are these truckers doing? They're ruining people's normal lives. It's like, you did that for 2 years and you're trying to do that now. That's why the truckers are doing it. Truckers want to work. They want to provide food. They want to provide goods. They want to be the backbone of our economy. They just want you to stop being a psychopath, Justin Trudeau. But you won't stop doing it. So you become like a paranoid schizo and start blaming everybody like our DHS instead of looking inside yourself and being like, they're screaming for help, saying, stop abusing us. Stop treating us like animals. Stop doing all this stuff that doesn't even make any sense. And his response is like, the truckers have no right to shut the economy down. That's my job. They have no right to shut down people's day-to-day lives. That's my job. It's like, that's not your job either. They're doing that as a counter to what you're doing. Is it right? I don't know. Will it work? I have no idea. How will this play out? I don't have a crystal ball, but that's what they're there for. They're not there for some sort of race-based movement. They're there to get their basic human rights back that they had in 2018. And to finish off this rant, I'm tired of seeing, and I'm not trying to be mean, but I'm tired of seeing Republicans in my Twitter feed say, oh, China's genocidal. Oh, China. Oh, American. It's like, shut up. America is not doing well right now. I'm tired of seeing Republicans cry about China. If I'm not saying China's great, I don't want to live there. But if you care about China so much in the Uyghur camps, go fly to China, okay? Go fly to China and go be an activist like Enes Kanter pretends to be here, okay? I don't need Republicans when we're being forced vaccinated, kicked out of jobs. You have thousands of people set to be fired in Los Angeles police force. We have a total uprooting of our military. We have the loss of human rights here. 2 years of forced masking of children, indoctrination up the wazoo. You can push LGBT propaganda on kids, but you can't counter it, or else they're trying to make it illegal essentially and counter what they're doing. And you have the nerve to talk about China? Shut up, Republicans. Seriously, shut up. I don't like China. I don't support their regime. Focus on our country, okay? What are you doing for little tweets? Like, maybe I'll get invited to CPAC if I have no self-awareness about my own country. We're not even the freedom capital of the world anymore. Sweden is more free than America. Let's focus on ourselves, okay? Let's get back to number one in freedom, number one in free speech, number one in schools. Let's get back to like the greatest country in the world. And then we could look at China and be like, okay, we took care of our home. Now we're going to talk about yours and we want to clean up your home. It's like we got a filthy home, filthy streets of Los Angeles. Our greatest city, or one of the greatest cities in the world, New York City, is pretty much under medical authoritarianism. I take offense to that. I've been to New York City 10 times. I love New York City, the city of big lights, the Big Apple. It's a place I don't want to go anymore. I'm more concerned about New York City being under medical authoritarianism than I am about Shanghai. Sorry, don't care about Shanghai. Not trying to go to China. Pass. Thanks for the offer, though. So stop talking. It's like, oh, maybe Charlie Kirk will book me if I just say China enough times. It's like, maybe he will, but who cares? Focus on our country, because that's what we need. And Department of Homeland Security, I hope you're not watching this, but if you are, judged on just how things have gone over the last year, I love this country. I love people that work for your industry. I love this country so much. In order to fix it, you have to take accountability, okay? You have abused right-wing people in the media, not you, but people in the media for years, lied, not trying to have a conversation, not trying to have a podcast. Joe Rogan has a podcast. He has on vegans. He has on meat eaters. He has on liberals. He has on conservatives. He has on health experts in Biden's administration. He has on Dr. Malone. Joe Rogan does what you don't do. He listens to everybody and lets everybody. You want to hear a vegan? Listen to the vegan. You want to hear the meat eater who only eats meat? Listen to the meat eater. Joe Rogan does the job that you guys don't do. And not only do you not try to give a fair share to the left or the right, you frame everybody that's honest in the left and the right, make them look like complete dirt, treat them like garbage, and then cry the victim when people don't like you. It's disgusting how you guys have treated right-wingers over the last decade. It's disgusting how you treated left-wingers. You're abusing your own audience with this psychotic idea of what it's like to be healthy. And then you change what you told them randomly today, and none of them can affect it because you've mentally abused them for 2 years. If you want people to not be radicalized on the left and the right, I agree with you. But you need to take some accountability, because I would argue, as a peaceful, not crazy person that has my emotions under check and would never do anything like that and don't support that from left or right, as a viewer and a news analyst, if you ask me who is most responsible for extremism in America, first it goes to the people, right? You need to have self-accountability. Don't cry victim to the media or Trump. It's your fault. If you're doing something that's illegal and violent and dangerous and terrible, it's your fault. So the first responsibility goes to that person, right? Second, I would put above, fringe people that I've listened to. I've listened to crazy people I don't like. I would say the mainstream media is worse. The celebrity elite class has been worse. The Democratic Party has been garbage. The government on left and right wing did a horrible job, a horrible mismanagement job in 2020. When it's all said and done, John Hopkins is admitting that lockdowns were not what they originally kind of sold you on, which we all pretty much knew, and you canceled us for saying and tried to censor us. So if you want to get my top 5 of just being honest, as somebody that could take accountability for what I do and what I've said, I would say all the people that you hate aren't even in the top 5, and all these organizations that are calling everybody terrorists are in the top 5. And that's not a way to de-radicalize somebody, is call, a grandma like living in Mississippi who likes Trump and has a Let's Go Brandon flag. It's not nice to brainwash her audience into thinking that this lady's a crazy terrorist because she has a Let's Go Brandon flag. Like, this is the type of propaganda that they push. Let's Go Brandon is a funny inside joke that's not an inside joke to Trump supporters, because there was a NASCAR person, they were screaming F Joe Biden, and the lady quickly said, oh, what's that, Let's Go Brandon? It's pretty funny, and it's a way to show your disapproval of Biden in a funny joke way. That's all it is. What they're trying to act like it's this crazy thing. It's like, oh, well, millions of people are saying it and one person said it and did something bad, and now it's a whole bad thing. And it's like, no. And this is the same thing they did to Allah Akbar. And it's like, listen, I understand the ideology behind like radical Islam where people literally do suicide missions and scream Allah Akbar. But the word Allah Akbar means God is great. I believe that's what it means. So that's a beautiful phrase. If I were to sell an Arabic God is great thing, I would have to write that phrase. So on the same hand, they've done this with other cultures. I'm not like liberal media, and I say there's no, like someone goes in a mosque and they're like, they go in a synagogue and they're like, we can't figure out why they did this. It's like, well, if they went in a synagogue, I don't know, maybe it had something to do with the fact they were Jews. I don't know. I'm no Sylvester, or whatever. I'm no like mystery expert, but Scooby-Doo team. Maybe that has something. And if you look into that guy's ideology, he did have an ideology and a reason he was doing it. But the point I'm getting to is like, they never tell the full story. I'm not saying that religion isn't an aspect of that, right? Like, okay, he's doing it from a religious purpose, but 99% of Muslims are not doing that. And that word is a holy word for them. So you don't want to demonize it. It's a similar thing. I know it's different because it's not a religion, but it's like they're acting like if one person does, let's go Brandon, and does something bad, then that word must be everyone saying it for that reason. Like, no, that's not why everyone's saying it. And similar, that's not why most Muslims are saying Allah Akbar. They're saying it because they think God is great and they pray a lot. And 99.9% of Muslims don't do that stuff, It's the same thing, but they do the same thing. And then they turn you against each other. And I'm not even saying for the Christians that are going to get mad at this, I'm not even saying you need to be Muslim. Like, I think Muslim nations should be Muslim, Christian nations should be Christian. And if you want to, go to the other place, you should respect people's rules. I don't care if Saudi Arabia has Sharia law. If I go there, I should respect their religious law. If I don't want to respect it, then I shouldn't go. So I see how the media is turning everybody against each other. Whites against Muslims, Christian against Muslims, black against white, liberal versus conservative. That's why there's so much division. As somebody that grew up on podcasting, social media, I've listened to bad people, good people, left wing, right wing, people I like, people I don't like. The worst media I've ever seen. This includes Young Turks, who I think are garbage, and people on the left I think are garbage. The worst people I've ever seen and the worst programming I've ever seen to radicalize people is the mainstream media. Watching an hour of CNN or MSNBC is literally psychotic. I could watch the most wicked left-winger on YouTube, and they're not even half as bad as mainstream media. So when you're thinking about why are people so divided, why are people getting upset, it's your fault. You're a huge portion of that. Everybody needs to take accountability of themselves, but a way to do that is not the DHS saying that misleading narratives sow discord and undermine public trust. It's like they're such hypocrites. Jen Psaki says that Russia's doing a false flag operation. We think we're not sure, but we think we're sure, but it didn't happen yet. Yeah, that's what Alex Jones said 3 years ago. Now Jen Psaki's saying it. Okay, she has the right to say that. But what if I were to say that? What if I were to be like, there's a false flag in another country? I don't know this, so I'm not going to say it. But it's just like, this is who they are. And as I end this, I want people to understand this. They're not wearing the masks in public, but you are. Stacey Abrams, the Democrat ex-CIA lady who I don't remember her name. I did a video on her earlier. They have a whole list of people behind them, but they're not wearing they're so backwards in their eye. They don't even probably understand that they're doing it. It's like rules for you, but not for them. And I pray that they stop doing this. And I pray that Joe Rogan comes out of this clean because they're just jealous of him. He does what they're supposed to do. He's not the most right-wing person. To be honest, he's not a perfect person, but he is, I would say, the greatest podcaster, most successful podcaster. And he's really revolutionized the way to interview people on both sides and get trippy people, hippie people. Like, he does a good variety. He's what the news should be. That's why they're so mad. I hope he comes out of it because they're trying to scapegoat him, and this is their little game they're playing. And I pray that the DHS comes to their senses because, it's starting to seem like a paranoid authoritarian government where they're just blaming everyone else and taking no accountability. There's misinformation all over the place from your experts, your news sources. People lie all the time, left wing, right wing. It doesn't make it good, but this is their little Stalin-esque move. It's like, oh, Stalin doesn't want anybody to disagree with him. Well, oh, it's misinformation. If you have an authoritarian leader, fascist, communist, whatever you want to say, yeah, anybody who disagrees with the government, that's misinfo. Anybody who disagrees with big pharma, they have enough money and lobbying power, that's disinfo. It's not disinfo. They're literally banning people off of Twitter and Instagram who are posting real vaccine injuries, and they're banning it, calling it misinfo. Some of it is misinfo. A lot of it is real. There are thousands of confirmed cases of it. More than that, of people who really did have something bad happen. Multiple athletes, Olympic athletes, motocross people, they've posted pictures. Their doctor told them it was the vaccine. Not all people who got injured, but it is a thing. And this is how sick these industries are. Big pharma knows about it. They've protected themselves and shielded themselves from liability. So now that's what matters. That's the contract. They don't have liabilities in the court, so they don't have to answer to it. If they were lying this big, like sometimes they do a mandate that's unconstitutional, it goes to court, and eventually the court says, wait, that's unconstitutional. What you did there was wrong. You can't sue big pharma for this stuff. So there is going to be no Supreme Court ruling on it because they've successfully shielded themselves and then weaponized big tech to go after people who talk bad about their product. Imagine if you couldn't boycott Coca-Cola. Imagine if you couldn't boycott Pepsi. Imagine they're telling everybody to boycott Spotify. Sure, yeah, boycott Spotify, whatever. I don't even care that much about Spotify, but can I boycott Pfizer? I can't boycott Pfizer in this world. What if my boycott, I don't like Pfizer and Moderna. I'm going to boycott Pfizer and Moderna, and I'm going to stick to other health products that I choose. You can't do that. I'm not even allowed in a restaurant in New York City if I boycott Pfizer and Moderna. What they're doing is making the First Amendment illegal. They're making protest illegal. They're making freedom of speech illegal for big pharma, not for the truth. That's not true information. That's misinformation. They're allowed to put out misinformation with impunity as long as it goes in favor of their political, social, and medical agenda. You know how dangerous it is to not be able to boycott a company's product that is, let me read. Let's just go through some stats. $36.8 billion is how much Pfizer made from the COVID vaccine in 2021, making it the top selling pharmaceutical product ever in a single year. So I'm just going to say stats. Top pharmaceutical product in a single year, top selling product from a company that has no liability for the side effects, injuries, and deaths from that product, signed with the government, from a company that had at one point, I believe it was surpassed, but had the record high criminal fine ever settled out in America. I believe it was for Bextra. And I'm not allowed to question them. Johnson & Johnson settling out opioid lawsuits, baby asbestos powder, and I can't question their product, Pfizer, which doesn't have the controversy of Pfizer and Moderna, and Pfizer of Johnson & Johnson, because they don't really have a history of stuff on the market as much as Pfizer and Moderna, and I'm not allowed to boycott or question them. That's not misinformation. You're the misinformation. You are using this agenda to stop boycotting and protest, and I'm fair. I think it's unconstitutional what Republicans are doing. I don't boycott Israel. I don't boycott Israeli products. I don't do that because if it's, if I like it, I'll buy it. If it's not, I don't really check, to be honest. Like I like made in the USA stuff, but I don't even check what's made in Israel. But in general, I think you should have the right to protest them. And Ron DeSantis and a bunch of these Republicans are trying to strong arm people into making it illegal or losing government contracts for boycotting Israel. That's, in my opinion, unconstitutional. I don't like when Republicans do it. I don't like when liberals do it. I don't like when big pharma does it, because whether it's a country, whether it's a product, you should be allowed to do what you want. And I don't think that should, you should lose or gain government funds in doing so. Pfizer gets, how many buys from the government. Moderna gets how much funding from the government. That's not free market. That's not the First Amendment. The First Amendment is great. People who want to take away the First Amendment are not great. Anybody, whether it's Trump, DeSantis, whether it's Ted Cruz, whether it's Nancy Pelosi, whether it's Leana Wen, whether it's Dr. Fauci, whether it's, analysts at CNN, the type of people that want to take away the First Amendment are the exact type of people that the people who wrote the First Amendment warned you about. Look at quotes from Jefferson, Washington. They warned you of a time when politicians would try to subvert the Constitution. They wrote this out, not just in the Constitution, but they had other writings where they predicted all of this stuff. They're like, there are going to be tyrants who try to take this stuff away from you. That's why I gave you this. That's why you have it. Other countries are ruled by kings and queens in history. That's why you have the Constitution. They didn't write it so some idiot at a big tech platform can take it away from you, or some idiot in the government can tell you why it's not good. Those are the exact type of people who they warned you about. It doesn't say freedom of speech unless you question Israel. It doesn't say freedom of speech unless Al Sharpton says it's racist. It doesn't say freedom of speech unless it's, Louis Farrakhan or Nick Fuentes. It doesn't say freedom of speech unless you're boycotting Pfizer and Moderna. And there's nothing extreme about understanding how governments will abuse the power. If they could shut down one voice or one unpopular social or political opinion, they can do it all. And this is the path that they're going down. So I pray that people are listening. I pray that people are paying attention. It looks like it's going in the right direction, but I don't believe that everybody earned their freedom. I think they just kind of gave it back because, the backlash was getting severe. And to be honest, who wants to live this way? If you're Joe Biden or Gavin Newsom, who wants to live in a mask forever, right? If I was a leader, I would be like, yo, I'm getting rid of this now. I wouldn't want to, everywhere I go, I'm wearing a mask. People are judging me. You got to wear one. You're the governor. That sounds terrible. No one wants to live this way. So I'm glad they're taking it away, but they're all pretty much, I'm not going to say all, they're all promising at one point, they might take it away again. Just watch. They might take it away again. And here's a pattern to look out for. You can rewind to last year. Same thing. Winter's going to come along. They're going to act shocked by a new variant or a radical strain or whatever they're going to call it. Winter's going to hit. Cases are going to go up because it's the formerly known as flu season, currently known as COVID season. That's not known as COVID season because they're trying to act like winter's not a thing anymore seasonally. And they're going to take all your stuff away next winter, just like they did this winter. Why wouldn't they? So, I hope people are catching on. I pray that people are getting tired of it. And, a lot of good information, a lot of good news today, but something just feels like we didn't earn this and it's not like everybody figured it out. It's kind of like they're maybe scared of the next election or something. Maybe the protests actually had an effect. I'm not really sure, but just stay peaceful, stay blessed. And I would say just, always stay peaceful, but just watch what you say. And I'm not telling you to censor yourself in a bad way, but if you read some of this stuff that the government and a lot of these corporations are putting out, they're looking for a reason to exaggerate about people, and basically say, if you disagree with the narrative, that you're somehow aiding terrorism. And these are things real quick, just this is my thought process. Cause now I have a platform. I'm at a point where I take enough pictures with people when I go to events that I could be tied to anything just off of 6 degrees of separation. I got millions of views, but anyway, I'm thinking at a certain point, and I'm not trying to give them ideas, but it's they're so crazy that they could be well, you donated to the truckers and the truckers did this, so you funded terrorism. This is something that they kind of did with January 6th. They're trying to make these ties. Well, if you donated to the truckers, I support a peaceful protest. I think this is anti-mandate. If something goes bad at the trucker protest, they can then be well, technically you aided a riot in a foreign country. And these are, I believe personally, I don't have full, explanation besides what I'm reading, but I think that this is the games that they're really trying to play to crack down on people, where it's somebody that's a peaceful, law-abiding citizen. Well, now you funded an operation that was totally peaceful, but they found one person that did something or a couple people, and now they're saying that the blocking of the street is illegal. So now it's a terrorist event, and you're now caught aiding terrorism overseas or something. And I'm not trying to scare people into not donating to the truckers, because I think you should do what you love and what you want to do. I personally haven't, but I know clearly a lot of people have millions of dollars. But that's my 5D chess of thinking, where it's I'm not going to censor myself. I'm not going to not be myself. I'm going to do what I want when I want, if it's the righteous and right thing to do. But, a lot of people are loose with their words I'm not saying that you shouldn't be in an honest way, but it's have a little self-awareness. And if everybody wants to play 5D chess, understand the games they're playing. If you start a big podcast, they're trying to Joe Rogan you. If you start a successful application that's outside of the, big tech atmosphere, they're trying to take it out of the store and control it. So it's any situation. It's it's not to say to be afraid, just be aware of the world we live in, because unfortunately this is what they're doing. And, I think Democrats and these type of people, they're always scheming and they're always doing stuff. And Republicans are like Trey Gowdy. They're on television being like, don't compare anything to the Holocaust and the slavery. And you're like, yeah, Trey Gowdy, you really stuck it to them. Like, we get it, dude. Like, it's not smart socially to falsely compare something to the Holocaust. It's not the greatest idea, right? I've had much better ideas than doing that. However, is that the pressing issue of our country? No, it's just a virtue signal so he can get a bunch of fancy donors and fancy pants people to be like, oh, wow, what a great guy. He's so not anti-Semitic. It's like, yeah, don't make bad comparisons to history unless you want people to judge you and hate you. But is that like the number one issue? No, Democrats, DHS, they're starting to put out memos and you're like, what the hell? Like, they're treating unvaccinated people like slaves. You know, there's a slavery reference for you, Trey Gowdy. Suck it. Why don't you stop letting them treat me like a prisoner when I go to New York City and a literal serf, look up the definition of enslave and serf, and you can see why I feel that way, because I'm now a second, third tier citizen in major cities. Why don't you focus on that, Trey Gowdy? So as Trey Gowdy's crying about Whoopi Goldberg for clout, you got Democrats doing all this other stuff. So that's why I say, you know, keep the peaceful, friendly, but honest pressure on Republicans. Stop cheering for these idiots, because it's like all they do is lose in slow motion wearing cowboy hats. And Democrats are like slowly shifting society, shifting schools, shifting it in a way that's authoritarian. And make no mistake, you know, whether they meant for this or not, I'm not saying that this was forced, but it's like, you ever heard the example, you give an inch, they take a mile. If you give someone an inch, they take a mile. This is not just for government. This is anything like, give them an inch, they take a mile. If you're too nice, they take more. So you're talking about people that you know, and I know, and everybody knows are politicians who want money and power and control. They've got more power than ever through forced masking, forced vaccination, lockdowns, emergency orders, emergency funding. They're not going to want to give that back. So we need Republicans to address that as the number one issue. What Whoopi Goldberg says is not the number one issue. She's not smart. You know, I'm not saying she's not smart at all, but she's not very honest politically or socially. I've heard her takes. In fact, I think her take on the Holocaust was one of the least stupid things she said. And I'm not saying it wasn't dumb. I'm just saying I think everything she says is dumb. I've never heard a Whoopi Goldberg quote where I'm like, yeah, she really spitting. You know, like I hear Shaq talk all the time and Charles Barkley. I'm like, yo, they're spitting. Shaq's spitting the truth. Charles Barkley spitting. I've never heard a Whoopi Goldberg quote where I was like, oh yeah, she's really intellectually stimulating. Like, she's The View. The View is just, I call it four harpies yelling at each other. You know, that's what it sounds like to me. I'm not trying to be sexist. It just sounds like four harpies yelling at each other. You know what a harpy is? It's like a Greek mythology, like a lady, you know, luring you in on an island or something, or screeching loud. I don't remember which one it is, but that's just how I feel. So it's like, that's not the pressing issue, though. It's like the pressing issue is what's going on in our country through the authoritarian. So as Democrats are pushing it further and further in that direction and not rescinding power, you have Ellen DeGeneres Gowdy on television crying about slavery. You have Lindsey Graham being a total phony. You have Donald Trump finally stopped selling booster shots after 2 years of selling booster shots. Everybody's cheering. Everybody's mad. It's like this, you know, this is not a winning party. The only one with some sort of energy, it's like Candace Owens, Thomas Massey, Rand Paul sometimes. You know, like Ted Cruz is considered cool in the Republican Party. I like him, but he can have his moments too, where it's like, I'm not trying to be mean, but clearly I see why we're losing all the time. I see why we don't really have a First Amendment. It's because like they go far into authoritarianism and you guys just do this little tap dance for like CPAC. You're like, ugh, left winger's bad. And everyone's like, yeah, you're like, and then like Ted Cruz, I remember last year, he's like, we should take the masks off of unvaccinated people or vaccinated people. Vaccinated people should take the masks off on airplanes. And I'm like, that's your compromise 2 years into this medical tyranny, and you want to take the mask off of vaccinated people on airplanes, Ted Cruz? This is my party, you know? So I feel like that's why we're always getting played, but you already know that. I talk about it all the time. God bless you. God bless America. God bless your family. God bless the world. Oh, someone said not harpy, siren. Yes, siren and harpy. I always get those ones confused. Sorry. I apologize. Misinformation. Somebody called DHS. No, I'm just kidding. Please don't. God bless you. God bless your family. God bless America. God bless the world. Real quick, I don't have a sponsor, so I am the sponsor. Just letting you guys know, dreamrare.com is my hats, or godblesshats.com. Somebody wanted to do a wholesale. We were going to sell 50, so we might start wholesaling them, but they might run out soon because we're doing a sale of 50. So if you want a white hat or anything in the store, Go get it right now. Dreamrare.com. Support the show. Dreamrarelinks.com. I'm very excited. Real quick, my buddy's coming out to work with me for a time. He refused it. He refused to get the Pfizer Moderna, so he got fired from his job. And I'm not happy that he did, but I am grateful because I could use some help. I'm always editing myself. I did 3 videos today. He's going to be working with me full time. So I, in theory, should be able to do a lot more work because I got a lot in me. It just takes a lot out of me to film, research, edit. With some help, I'm planning to do a podcast. The podcast, let me know what you guys think. The podcast is going to be these live streams. I'm going to keep doing these live streams, try to up the quality, do that, get the best audio, take the best one or the 2 best ones from the week, make that a podcast, and put it on Apple, Spotify, everything. And then I'm going to do interviews. So I'm going to do like 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. I think I'm going to do that. 1 just me, 1 interview. 1 just me, 1 interview. And I'm going to interview a lot of cool people. I'm blessed because of the energy I put out. You know, I repel the harpies and the sirens, and usually it's people that like me that reach out. So I've accumulated an interesting group of people that are great at sports, music, everything, you know, technology, cool people that I know, very impressive people that I'll do interviews with and have chats with. I can't wait to share those combos with you. Thank y'all for the help. Thank y'all for the support. I really want to ramp up this year, work harder, work smarter, and get some good stuff out for you and keep making hopefully somewhat of an impact. And I think my favorite impact, I mean, I'm grateful that people have got information. I've been able to educate people on stuff that, you know, a lot of politicians were covering up and lying about. But I'm glad that this is getting funnier and I'm making jokes because I think there's value in comedy. You know, when you laugh and you live in the moment and you're like laughing at something, you're enjoying yourself. And I think that's valuable. So above all the info and stuff, I'm glad that people laugh sometimes because that's always, you know, you can't go wrong with a laugh. If you laugh, it's a good time. Unless you're laughing at me instead of with me, then it's like, you know, now I'm starting to get a little offended. But jokes aside, have a good one. I'm out. Appreciate y'all so much. Dreamrare.com and dreamrarelinks.com for a few links if you want to see some social stuff.